Polls have just closed in 6 states, and NBC News is ready to make our first projections of the night. Here we go. We start with the state of Kentucky. NBC News projects that Donald Trump will win in Kentucky tonight. Let's move to Vermont. NBC News projects that Vermont will go in the Kamala Harris column this evening. This is where it brings us on the road to 270 right now. The early start, Donald Trump out in front with 8 electoral votes, 3 for Harris. A long way to go to get that 270, but that's
key projection in the state of Indiana. And no surprise here, Donald Trump will win that state again. Here's the data that's just coming in. See if we can get some numbers. And you now know, because we've taken you inside the decision desk, how is it that we can project this with just 15% of the vote counted? It is because we are confident that the margin is sufficient to make that call. So let's go to the 270 map. We're going to see this a lot, and we start to fill in some of the gray. Indiana, red for Donald
Trump is the projected winner in West Virginia with 4 electoral votes. Here's where it puts us on the road to 270. Donald Trump out in front with 23-3 for Kamala Harris. State of Florida. NBC News projects that Donald Trump will win Florida and take its 30 electoral votes. The state of Massachusetts, Kamala Harris, the projected winner tonight with 11 electoral votes. Donald Trump, the projected winner in Tennessee tonight, 11 electoral votes there. In the state of Maryland, NBC News projects that will go in the Kamala Harris column. We move on to the state of Missouri. NBC News projects that Donald Trump is the victor in Missouri when all the votes are counted. Here's what Alabama looks like. That will also go to Donald Trump. State of Oklahoma, this will be projected to go to Donald Trump. And in D.C., District of Columbia, 3 electoral votes at stake. NBC News projects that Kamala Harris will win there. So where does that leave us now on the road to 270? There it is, 90 for Trump right now, 27 for Harris, 270, of course, the magic number and the keys to the White House. We do have another call to make, and it's an NBC News projection in the state of South Carolina. South Carolina will go to Donald Trump when all the votes are counted later. And here's where the breakdown right now that Donald Trump, again, the projected winner. Donald Trump will win in the state of Arkansas when all the votes are counted, 6 electoral votes. Here's where we are on the map to 270. That leaves Donald Trump with 99 electoral votes, 27 for Harris. Again, the goal, 270.
The state of Delaware, the home state of the sitting president, Joe Biden, will go for Kamala Harris as expected. Here's how the vote shook out, just 48% in, but this is an easy projection with the margins as they are expected to be. So here's where we fill out our map at 8:30 on the East Coast. Delaware being added to the tally for Kamala Harris. Donald Trump leading as some of these big states in the South, which are expected to go his way.
Donald Trump will win in the state of Texas when all the votes are counted. NBC News projects that Donald Trump will also win in North Dakota tonight. South Dakota, same story. That will also go into the Donald Trump column this evening. We move to the state of Wyoming in 3 electoral votes at stake. Donald Trump, the projected winner in Wyoming. Here's the map. The road to 270 now getting interesting. 154 for Donald Trump, 30 for Kamala Harris. NBC News now projects that Donald Trump will take all 6 electoral votes and will win in Mississippi. There is the breakdown right now, 21,000 vote difference, 10% in. But again, Donald Trump, the projected winner in Mississippi. Here's the map. Here's where it leaves us on the road to 270. Donald Trump well out in front with 160. Kamala Harris now with 30. We got a projection in the state of Rhode Island. NBC News projects that Kamala Harris will win in Rhode Island when all the votes are counted. 4 electoral votes for her. Here's where the breakdown is, 31,000 vote difference, 74% of the vote in, but again, Kamala Harris, the projected winner there.
We've got a race to call here. Louisiana, no big surprise, but if you're filling out your map at home, you can add Louisiana there. Just 22% of the vote counted, but again, the margin expected to be rather large. So here's the map for those watching at home. The South, of course, reliably red for Donald Trump, and at this early hour, he is far out in front, but we await those key battleground states.
Kamala Harris is the projected winner. I'll get this out. Projected winner in New York, and there you see the vote difference, 845,000. 33% in. Here's the map to show us where we are on that road to 270. That puts Donald Trump out front with 168. Harris with 62 now.
Got a projection to tell you about the state of Illinois. Kamala Harris, as expected, takes it. So that's a Midwest hold for Kamala Harris and the Democrats. Let's look at the breakdown here. Half the vote in, and it looks like it will be an easy victory as expected. And so we can fill out one more state on our road to 270 map.
NBC News projects Donald Trump will take the state of Ohio with 17 electoral votes. There is the breakdown of 441,000 vote difference now. 64% of the vote in Ohio. And again, Donald Trump is the winner there. And there's where it takes us on the road to 270. Donald Trump out in front with 185 electoral votes. Harris with 81. We've got a call in the Kansas presidential race. Donald Trump is the projected winner in Kansas now. NBC News can project. Now in the state of Utah, NBC projects that Donald Trump will win in Utah and take those 7 electoral votes. And we go further into the west, into Montana. 4 electoral votes. Donald Trump, the projected winner in Montana.
Kamala Harris takes Colorado as expected. Used to be a battleground years and years ago, but has really trended to the Democrats in the last couple of presidential cycles. And here's how it shakes out. With 54% of the vote counted in Colorado, they vote by mail, and those ballots get to be counted quite quickly. So we see that Kamala Harris will take Colorado, so we can fill out the map just a little bit more as we lay out the road to 270, but those big battleground states, we have yet to call one of the battleground states for Kamala Harris. Right now, her best path remains those 3 industrial Midwest states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Donald Trump flirting with Georgia and North Carolina and perhaps Arizona and Nevada. It'll be a while before we get results there. And Iowa will go red, as was widely expected until that poll. Right there, Trump wins the 6 electoral votes of Iowa. And so we can see the breakdown there with about half the vote counted there. So there was this thought that perhaps because of his restrictive abortion ban that just went into effect in July, and this highly respected pollster coming out, that perhaps there was going to be a wave of independent women who could somehow turn this red state blue, but this was not to be.
Nebraska. Okay, this is NBC News projects that 3 of the 5 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. 3 of 5, you ask? That takes me to Tom. I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Again, so Nebraska, remember, they give out their electoral votes for the popular vote, whoever wins the state. They also give them by congressional district. From what you just reported there, projecting one of the congressional districts, it's going to be District 3. It's going to go to Trump. There are 2 other congressional districts, 1 and 2, that we're still watching. Nebraska District 2, this is the big one that we've been watching. It's the swing district. The other one, Nebraska 1, usually goes red. We're still waiting on some vote there. It hasn't been called yet. But again, Nebraska 2 is the big one, because if it came down to that 269 scenario, we would come here to Omaha.
In the state of Oregon, NBC News projects that Kamala Harris will win in Oregon when the votes are counted. Here's where there's the breakdown right now. 220,000 vote difference, 45% of the vote in. But again, Kamala Harris, the projected winner there. NBC News can project that Kamala Harris will win in the state of California. 54 electoral votes. In the state of Idaho, NBC News projects Donald Trump will win and take those 4 electoral votes in Idaho. Here's the map where it moves in the road to 270. Donald Trump with 214. Harris now with 145. So things certainly becoming a little more interesting as the evening progresses. This is the state of Connecticut. NBC News projecting that Kamala Harris will win in Connecticut when all the votes are counted. 7 electoral votes. There's the breakdown right now, about a 10-point difference between the 2 of them. NBC News now projecting that Kamala Harris will win the 12 electoral votes in the state of Washington. Here's how it breaks down right now, a difference of about 473,000 votes. In the road to 270, that leaves Harris with 165, 214 for Donald Trump now. Another presidential call. This is in the state of Virginia. This call coming a little later than many people might have expected, but Kamala Harris will win the 13 electoral votes in Virginia. There's the breakdown right now, 134,000 vote difference, 84% of the vote in.
Looks like we have a projected winner. This just came in right now. Okay, North Carolina, Donald Trump is the projected winner. You see the margin there, 136,000. So Donald Trump improved on his margin by back of the envelope math, 50,000 votes there in North Carolina. That's going to be a real disappointment for the Kamala Harris campaign.
NBC News now making a projection in the state of Hawaii that Kamala Harris will win those 4 electoral votes. NBC News projects that Donald Trump will win in Georgia when all the votes are counted. There's the breakdown right now, 118,000 vote margin. But again, Donald Trump, the projected winner. This is a big call here on a night in which we've waited quite some time for some of these important battleground calls. Here's what the road to 270 looks like. Donald Trump drawing closer now to that magic number. He's at 246, Harris at 189. NBC News projecting that Kamala Harris will win in New Mexico, 5 electoral votes. Here's the breakdown right now. You see the difference, 43,000, 95% of the vote in there, so very little left to count. Where does that bring us to in the road to 270? Donald Trump at 246, Harris now up to 194. Donald Trump will win in the state of Pennsylvania, 19 electoral votes. Here's where it stands right now. Donald Trump out in front, difference of 188,000 votes, 95% of the vote in Pennsylvania, and that goes in the Donald Trump column.
Yes, we can.
NBC News projecting that Wisconsin was won by Donald Trump, and therefore, as you see on your screen, we are now projecting that the next president of the United States is Donald Trump.
He will reclaim the White House. The 45th president of the United States will become the 47th president of the United States, being elected for non-consecutive terms, a feat that has not been achieved since Grover Cleveland did it back in 1892. And there's the map.